As a degenerate anime viewer, I think it's just common knowledge that there's a lot of ass out there. Sometimes there's just so much ass that you feel like you're at a strip club. But today I am here to talk about a special kind of ass. An anime with so much support behind it, so much hype that the entire internet was supporting it at a time. And they praised it right up until the end, where the show decided to roundhouse kick viewers in the face and just give them an ending that makes you go, what? Gonna be honest, I'm pretty sure I'm still feeling whiplash from the show, and that show is Darling in the Franxx. Now, if you were in the community at that time, I'm sure you can remember the amount of hype this show had. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere on Discord without seeing someone with a 02 profile picture, and if you dared talk bad about this show, you'd instantly just get a response that had the coordinates of your house in them. It was an interesting time, and to be honest, I think the show deserved the hype it got. I mean, it was really, really good, and I was honestly ready to call this anime one of the best romances to ever exist. That is, if you cut out the ending. Because as it just so happens, this anime might be one of the best romance animes I've ever seen, but it also just so happens to be the worst anime ending I've ever seen in my entire 11 years of watching anime. That is an honorable title. Now obviously there's going to be spoilers in this video about the ending, but you're very lucky because the ending of this show just feels like it comes from an entirely different dimension. So you could hypothetically watch this video, watch the show, skip the ending, and you will be equally as happy. Everybody wins. So anyway, Darling in the Franxx, it is a show that takes place in a future world where humanity has been driven to endangerment by giant beasts. A strike force is assembled to destroy the monsters and save the world. Or in other words, Evangelion, which for those who don't know is basically same show, different font. Now I'm not going to give a lot of input on the plot of the show because I still do think that it's worth the watch even if you haven't seen the show and you know that the ending's terrible, especially if you're into the romance genre. But all you really need to know about the show before we dive into the ending here is that it was really amazing. It had all the hype behind it. It was masterfully done. The art was good. The plot was good. The characters. And I'm very confident in the fact that people would probably sacrifice their children if it meant that Darling in the Franxx got a better canon ending. So knowing all that, where do we go from here? Well, aliens. Now, if that part didn't make any sense to you, don't worry, because it also didn't make any sense to the tens of thousands of people watching the show. Somehow, right, we go from mechas battling klaxosaurs, which are basically monsters on planet Earth, to mechas fighting aliens in order to save the planet. I have no idea what drugs were in the writing room that day or the following weeks, but man, whatever it was, it must have been some good shit. Because I mean, going into the ending of the show, you think that we're gearing up for some final battle between the klaxosaurs, which are the monsters, and the main characters. Because that's what they're building towards, and that's how the manga ends. But then you look and you realize that you're watching episode 20, not episode 24. So what do they fill the last 4 episodes with? Well, it turns out that the head of the international government are actually aliens of this hive race called Verm that attacked Earth 60 million years ago, and the Klaxosaurus princess is actually not evil, but she's on the human side, and humans have been using Klaxosaur technology this whole time without even knowing, and so they have this epic battle where they send Verm running, but they promise them to return with a full army to destroy Earth. And then also 02 isn't working anymore, and she's getting these weird cuts on her body. Somehow the main character comes to the conclusion that 02's mind is still in space, and everybody leaves for space to get them reunited. When they get there, 02 is a giant robot for some reason with titties the size of literal mountains, and then after winning, 02 and Hero go to first planet and suicide bomb it to end the story. A perfectly logical ending, right? I'm sure most of you who have seen the show in the past probably got PTSD from that description right there. I wouldn't blame you. But I'm just confused as to how they thought they'd be able to fit this giant fucking plot twist in the last 4 episodes of the show, especially after they had all that world building and story building and everything surrounding it. Now, what ended up happening after all that is that they had a scene where 02 and Hero, which are the main characters, got reincarnated as kids, and eventually they find themselves again, and then you have this big title on the screen saying that a new story begins or something like that, which is all good and fun. It kind of reminds me of the Angel Beats anime ending, which I actually cried at. The only difference is that when I finished Darling in the Franxx, the only tears coming from my face were tears of pain. And what makes this whole thing even crazier is that this anime had an ending. It was etched out already in the manga, dude. It was a million times, miles upon miles better than this whatever the fuck we got here. Like, you have the two of them here. We will be together always. I swear it to you, 02. I will never ever let you go again. It's beautiful. Even though it's like kind of a whiplash ending still, it's still fucking way better than what we got in the original ending in the anime. Sorry, not the original ending. I'm getting a little heated. My words are getting a little scrambled here. But bottom line is, I don't know why they decided to change it. It was just a huge fucking waste. I honestly, maybe there was 2 scenarios that I could think of as to why they would change it. Maybe scenario number 1, they got stuck in a contract obligation to produce 24 episodes of the show. And so when they got to the point of episode 15 or episode 20 where the manga actually ends, they started scrambling, being like, oh shit, we actually have no story and no way to finish this. And they just straight up had to scramble right at the end in order to stretch the show out and actually make it 24 episodes. Which might explain why everything feels so goddamn rushed at the end of it. Or maybe scenario 2, the director of the show just decided that he could do better. You know, he went in for all that personal glory. He thought he could make a better ending of the show with a twist bigger than any twist ever done before, and he thought he could do it in 4 episodes. Now, whatever the reason may be as to why they changed the ending, it's honestly just really sad because, as I said earlier, this show was really good going into the ending. Actually, the word good doesn't even do it justice. It was fucking exceptional, dude. If you sat me down, I probably would have ranked this as one of the greatest romance animes of all time, if you excluded the ending entirely. And the funny part is, this show wasn't even fucking tagged as a romance. It was a drama, action, what the fuck was the other one? Oh, animation. Okay, well, no fucking shit. But it does the genre a lot better than shows even tagged with the romance genre. So the bottom line is, if you haven't watched the show and you're considering it, please do, but please, for the love of your God, for your sanity, just skip the ending. Like, the show, it just ends at episode 15. Just leave it there for your own sanity. That's the end. That's where everybody ends all happy and shit. Now, if you're a soldier looking to really go in there and experience all the pain, all the apocalyptic cluster fuckery that you can imagine, then enjoy the depression. Godspeed, soldier.